Perhaps you are here today because you feel something you cannot name, a silent heaviness that accompanies your mornings, a sense that, despite all the years lived, all the battles faced, something within you has still not found peace. You look back and see a life built with effort, but when you look within, you find uncultivated land. Wounds that do not bleed, but hurt. Memories that do not scream, but whisper in moments of solitude. Dr. Bruce Lipton, scientist and father of spiritual epigenetics, teaches us something that should have changed how we understand healing decades ago. He says your beliefs are not merely passing thoughts. They are real electromagnetic fields, biochemical messages that your organs receive every instant. Imagine a computer you inherited in childhood. In it, programs were installed that you never chose. Antivirus that identify love as threat. Systems that translate closeness as danger. These programs continue running in the background, years later, determining your choices, your relationships, your capacity to receive abundance. Joe Dispenza, neuroscientist and consciousness researcher, adds an even deeper layer to this understanding. He reminds us that we cannot create a new reality while maintaining the same chemical identity of our old story. Your body at this moment is producing exactly the same neurotransmitters it produced when you were 7 years old and learned it was not safe to be vulnerable. The chemistry of survival has become the chemistry of your everyday life, and you, unknowingly, continue choosing situations that confirm this chemistry because it is familiar. Because familiarity, to the nervous system, sounds like security, even when it causes suffering. There is an ancient metaphor I like to bring. Quartz crystals, used in watches and precision technologies, have an extraordinary property. They store frequency. A vibration introduced into a crystal remains there, stable, until a new vibration replaces it. Your cells work like this. They do not forget. They store. And every unprocessed emotion, every moment of abandonment, every word of rejection you swallowed to not feel, was recorded in the electromagnetic field of your physical body. But here's what quantum physics reveals and changes everything. The past does not exist as a concrete block. It exists as possibility, as wave. And waves can be reconfigured. In 7 days, the human body renews billions of cells. In 7 days, new neural pathways can be established. In 7 days, you can choose a new quantum field to inhabit. Not through force. Not through endless analysis. But through deep understanding that you were never merely a victim of your wounds. You are also the field that contains them. And fields can be transformed. I invite you to an experiment. Not of effort, but of permission. 7 days where science meets soul. Where quantum physics meets the purest human vulnerability. Are you ready to know what truly inhabits within you, beyond the pain? There is a trap that captures almost everyone seeking emotional healing. The trap of infinite analysis. You spend years trying to understand your pain. Reading books, doing therapy, talking to exhaustion about what happened in childhood, about who abandoned you, about the choices that brought you here. And there is momentary relief in this. The relief of understanding. But here is what Bruce Lipton warns us. The conscious mind, that which analyzes, reasons, seeks patterns, processes approximately 40 bits of information per second. Impressive, is it not? But the subconscious, that which stores your beliefs, your habitual emotions, your automatic survival responses, processes 40 million bits per second. You will never win this battle with arguments. The invisible error is thinking that understanding the wound is the same as stitching it. It is like observing an open wound, describing its shape, its color, its origin story, but never applying the bandage. Analysis generates dopamine. It creates the illusion of progress. You feel you are doing something, that you are taking care of yourself. But if you stop to feel, you will notice that the sensation of heaviness in the chest remains, that the difficulty to trust persists, that silent anxiety still visits your nights. There is a silent factor that sabotages your vibrational frequency without you noticing. It is the emotional addiction to small epiphanies, that moment of, I understand, that lasts a few hours and then dissipates, leaving you exactly where you were. Neuroscience calls this the reward of insight. Your brain releases dopamine when you understand something, even if that understanding changes nothing in your biology. And this dopamine is as addictive as any external substance. You return to seeking more explanations, more analyses, more stories about your pain, because the moment of clarity is pleasurable. But pleasurable is not transformative. So how do we exit this mental loop that seems to have no end? Not through more information, but through conscious sensation. When a limiting belief arises, do not analyze it, Feel it. Identify where it lives in your physical body. Is it a tightness in the chest, a knot in the throat, an emptiness in the stomach? Bruce Lipton teaches us that cells have emotion receptors. They literally feel what you feel. When you locate the physical sensation of the belief, you remove it from the abstract domain of the mind and bring it to the concrete domain of the body. And it is there, in the flesh, that transformation happens. The practice is simple, but requires courage. When the painful memory arises, pause, breathe deeply 3 times, ask your body gently where this belief is vibrating now, place your hand over that place, and instead of repeating the mental story, allow that area of your body to emit a sound, a movement, or simply receive the warmth of your attention. You are not healing with thought, you are healing with presence. And presence is the only frequency that can rewrite a stored electromagnetic field. There is a myth deeply rooted in personal development culture, the myth that you need to let go of the past. As if memories were objects we can simply drop, as if years of experience could be erased with one decision. This is not only impossible, it is unnecessary. Greg Braden, researcher of quantum fields and ancient traditions, reminds us of something essential. The unified field does not erase, it transmutes. The memory remains, but its electromagnetic charge is completely reconfigured. Think of memory as a photograph. The image is the same, but the light under which you observe it changes everything. Under the light of victimhood, the photograph shows tragedy. Under the light of learning, it shows strength. Under the light of quantum consciousness, it shows only information, uninterpreted energy, pure potential. You do not need to forget to be free. You need to stop being who you were when it happened. Most people fail when trying to reprogram beliefs because they confuse mental affirmation with vibrational alignment. You can repeat, "I am abundant," 1,000 times in the mirror. But if your body at the moment of affirmation is vibrating scarcity, if your shoulders are tense with worry, if your breath is shallow with anxiety, you are creating dissonance. It is like shouting in a concert hall during the deepest silence. The contradiction is evident to the entire quantum field around you. Here enters an understanding that Joe Dispenza brought to millions through his research. The heart emits an electromagnetic field 100 times stronger than the brain. When you enter heart coherence, when your heart beats in harmonious rhythm, it emits a frequency of approximately 0.10 Hz. At this frequency, the brain enters superlearning state. The amygdala, fear center, reduces its activity. The prefrontal cortex, center of creativity and intuition, expands its capacity. You become receptive to new quantum information. The technique is ancient and scientific at the same time. First, bring your attention to the heart area. Second, breathe slowly and deeply, imagining air entering and exiting through the chest, not the nose. Third, evoke an elevated emotion. Do not think it, feel it. It can be gratitude for something small. It can be compassion for yourself. It can be love you feel for an animal, a landscape, a moment of pure beauty. Maintain this emotion for a few minutes. And only then, in this state of coherence, introduce the new belief. Not as forced affirmation, but as seed planted in fertile soil. The quantum field responds to coherence, not intensity. Here is an expectation breaker that can change your relationship with time. Your body renews 98% of its cells in less than a year. Some cells, like those in the stomach, renew in days. Others, like skin, in weeks. The liver regenerates completely in months. So why do you remain the same person? Why do the same patterns repeat? Why does the same pain persist in a biologically new body? Bruce Lipton gives us the answer that conventional medicine still hesitates to accept. It is not DNA that controls the cell, it is the environment. And the environment that controls the cell is perception. Not objective reality, but how you interpret reality. If you believe at subconscious level that the world is dangerous, your body will produce defense chemistry, regardless of being physically safe. If you believe you are not worthy of love, your cells will close connection receptors, even surrounded by people who love you. You recreate the same chemical environment through the same habitual emotions. New cells, old chemistry, same life. The grave error we make is confusing emotion with identity. When anger arises, you say, "I am angry." When sadness comes, you affirm, "I am sad." But you are not the emotion. You are the field of consciousness experiencing the emotion. Anger is information. Sadness is information. They are waves in the ocean that you are. And waves pass, unless you hold them and call them your personality. There are subtle signs that your frequency is misaligned, and most of them are not obvious. Inexplicable fatigue after social interactions, even with loved ones. The need to control environments, schedules, outcomes, as if something terrible would happen if you let go. The mysterious attraction to people who, in some way, always confirm your deepest wounds. These are not character defects. They are signs that your electromagnetic field is operating at survival frequency, not creation frequency. Let me tell you a true story. A woman, let us call her Anna, 20 years of generalized anxiety, 20 years of therapy, medication, breathing techniques. Everything helped temporarily, but anxiety always returned, like an uninvited guest who settled in her living room, until she stopped trying to heal anxiety. Instead, she began a 7-day experiment. Each morning, before opening her eyes, she spent 20 minutes in heart coherence, not visualizing results, simply cultivating the sensation of safety in her own body, not demanding anxiety leave, simply offering her nervous system a different experience of itself. On the 3rd day, she noticed anxiety still came, but she was no longer the anxiety. On the 7th day, anxiety appeared as a distant whisper, and she realized she had created a new internal center of gravity. It was not about eliminating. It was about transcending through frequency. Perhaps the most sophisticated trap of the human mind is projection of past into future. You are not living what will happen. You are living what already happened, rehearsed, practiced, projected forward. Neville Goddard, mystic and teacher of the law of assumption, said the future is merely the past rehearsed. Every anxiety is emotional memory you throw forward, trying to control the outcome of a story that has not even begun. The fatal error is trying to control divine timing. You want healing to happen on your schedule. You want the universe to respond to your deadline demands. But the quantum field does not operate in linearity, it operates in resonance. And resonance cannot be forced. It can only be allowed. When you impose urgency on your transformation, you vibrate time scarcity, patience scarcity, trust scarcity in life's natural process. Here is something counterintuitive. Silence can be more powerful than intention, not empty silence of escape, but full silence of presence. In the constant mental noise of I need to improve, I need to heal, I need to be different, you maintain the frequency of I am broken. The universe does not respond to what you say you want. It responds to what you are. And as long as you are someone desperately needing healing, you will continue attracting situations that confirm that need. There is a mental model that can transmute anxiety into elevated intention, and it begins with the simplest and deepest reframe. Anxiety is diverted creative energy. It is the same electromagnetic field that creates realities, but directed toward fear instead of creation. When anxiety arises, do not fight it. Ask it with genuine curiosity. What would this energy be creating if I were not afraid? What could this intensity build if directed toward expansion instead of defense? Anxiety transforms into creative excitement when you change the label. The physical body does not know the difference. Only you, through perception, determine whether this vibration is threat or opportunity. Forgiveness is perhaps the most misunderstood theme in spirituality. Beware of performative forgiveness. The practice of, I forgive you, spoken to free oneself, but that actually hides an emotional transaction. You are exchanging resentment for spiritual superiority. I have forgiven, so I am evolved. But resentment remains there, merely masked. True forgiveness does not need the other present. It does not need anyone's admission of guilt. It does not need external justice. It happens in the quantum field, where you and the other are expressions of the same unified consciousness. Nature teaches us about vibrational patience in ways we ignore. Think of the caterpillar's metamorphosis. It does not struggle to become butterfly. It does not do wing exercises. It completely dissolves first. In the chrysalis, it becomes cellular soup, no longer identifying with what it was. This is the quantum chrysalis, the space where you no longer know who you are, where the old identity no longer serves, but the new has not yet formed. It is a space of not knowing, vulnerability, trust in the biological process of transformation. You cannot become new while holding firmly to the old. But here is what blocks most transformations. Dopamine from partial progress. You attend a workshop, read a book, have a therapy session, and feel better. This feeling better releases dopamine, and you interpret it as complete healing. So you stop the work. After all, you already feel good. But dopamine is a short-duration drug. It does not indicate structural transformation, only momentary reward. The true work happens after dopamine fades. When you continue the process even without immediate reward, it is there that cellular reprogramming happens. The practical exercise to dissolve resentment charge does not involve the other. It involves your quantum perception of the situation. Sit in silence. Visualize the person or situation you need to release, but not as fixed memory. See it as wave, as possibility. as energy that could have taken 1,000 different forms. See it not as defined particle, concrete story of betrayal or abandonment, but as field of pure potential. Ask yourself, what was this energy trying to teach? Even if the method was painful, what did this wave bring as information for my evolution? It is not about justifying pain. It is about extracting the gold of consciousness from it. Resentment dissolves when learning is extracted, because the energy maintaining the charge has now been released for your growth. There is a spiritual myth that paralyzes more than helps, the myth that you are already perfect. This phrase, when misunderstood, keeps you stagnant in spiritual comfort zone. If you are already perfect, why change? Why do the difficult work? Why face shadows? But the deeper truth is that you are not perfect. You are potential, and potential demands quantum collapse. Demands that multiple possibilities reduced to one concrete experience. Demands choice. Demands the risk of stopping being who you were to discover who you can be. The invisible error here is quantum attachment to familiar pain. Your nervous system was programmed to recognize as love what was actually merely chemical familiarity. If in your childhood love meant worry, today you feel loved when someone worries about you, even if toxically. If love meant sacrifice, you only feel valid when annulling yourself for others. If love meant emotional distance, you attract unavailable people because they confirm your survivor identity. You recreate painful situations not because you like suffering, but because they are familiar. And familiarity, I repeat, sounds like security to the nervous system. The three-step technique for quantum identity leap begins with honest recognition of current character. Who do you need to be to keep your wounds alive? Which version of you exists only because pain sustains it? Second, you must experience the new electromagnetic field before external evidence. Do not wait for circumstances to change for you to feel different. Cultivate the emotion of the new state now, even if it feels like a lie. The conscious mind will say it is false, but the subconscious does not distinguish between real experience and imagined experience with emotion. Third, repeat until the new becomes more familiar than the old. Repetition is not mechanical. It is creation of new brain wave pattern, new quantum signature. The secret to maintaining emotional coherence is not being always well. That is impossible and inhuman. It is about reducing recovery time from misalignment. The real metric of transformation is not whether you will never again feel anger, sadness, or fear. It is how long it takes you to return to center after provocation. Yesterday you took 3 days to recover from an unpleasant comment. Today it takes 3 hours. Tomorrow will be 3 minutes. That is real progress. Quantum flexibility to return to creation state, regardless of what happens outside. We have arrived at the end of this 7-day journey, though the time you invested listening is only a fraction of it. But here is the synthesis that can change everything. It was not about doing more. It was not about forcing more. It was about allowing a new wave collapse in your biology. Bruce Lipton leaves us with a truth that should be written in our hearts. When you change your perception, you change your biology. And when you change your biology, you change your life. Epigenetics is not just science. It is the most powerful tool of sovereignty that modern spirituality rediscovered. Think of the river. It flows to the ocean without pushing the water. It does not struggle against rocks. It goes around them, through them, transforms them with time, but never stops flowing. You do not need to push your healing. You need to stop rowing against the current of your own quantum resistance. Resistance to what is generates suffering. Acceptance of what is, combined with clarity of what can be, opens the field for transformation. Greg Braden reminds us of something we constantly forget. The unified field responds not to what we ask, but to what we are. It is not about the words of your affirmations. It is about the vibrational signature of your state of being. You can ask for love 1,000 times, but if you are loneliness, you will attract loneliness. You can ask for abundance, but if you are scarcity, you will experience scarcity. Change happens when you become, even if for moments, the frequency of what you desire. And these moments, repeated, become the new pattern. I invite you to a final experiment. Not willpower, which is limited resource, but deep understanding. Choose a new internal chemical environment for the next 7 days. When you wake, before opening your eyes, feel gratitude for 3 small things. Do not think. Feel. During the day when old memory arises, do not analyze it. Breathe and locate where it lives in the body. At night before sleep, visualize not what you want to have, but who you want to be. Feel that version now for a few minutes, regardless of the day you had. And if healing were not about fixing what broke, what if it were about recognizing that you have always been, simultaneously, the wave in the entire ocean? The wave may believe it is separate, that it will crash on the beach and disappear, that it is fragile and temporary. but the wave never stopped being ocean water, and the ocean does not disappear. You are not merely your story of pain. You are the infinite field that contains it, experiences it, and can transform it at any moment. The choice is yours. The field is open, and you, in this exact moment, are already free to begin again,